hope of a Christmas miracle. The headline today summing up the next crucial 24 hours, which could decide whether Sydney can contain the Northern Beaches COVID outbreak and avoid an extended festive season lockdown. It comes after every state and territory slammed its borders with New South Wales. Joining me to discuss from Melbourne is the Shadow Minister for Government Services, Bill Shorten, and in Sydney, Triple M's Gus Worland. Boys, good morning to both of you, but Gus, to you first, and Curl there. Are you praying for a miracle? How are you coping?
Yeah, no, well, I am praying for a miracle. Everyone's been fantastic. Everyone has got their testing done. People are wearing their masks. Everyone is sort of doing what they're meant to be doing. So over 40,000 people been tested now, and everyone just hoping that the good work we've put in the last 3 or 4 days will allow us just not to have that lockdown over the Christmas period. Most of us are probably thinking that we're going to have some sort of restrictions, but yeah, I think we are feeling and hoping that Wednesday will give us some really good news.
Yeah, we are holding out for Wednesday with bated breath. Bill, the Premier Gladys Berejiklian said yesterday that other premiers should actually have a heart. Don't automatically close all the borders with New South Wales, particularly at Christmas time. I know we spoke to the Mayor of Albury before, Kevin Mack. He said it was confusing. It was a blow to businesses down there as well as self-esteem. What do you make of all this?
Oh, listen, I can sympathise with ordinary Sydney-siders. I was at Brisbane Airport last night and I was just literally watching the departures board, and flights from Brisbane to Sydney were being cancelled as people just cancelling their trips. So as for border closures, my experience in Melbourne is go hard, go early. Let's just keep our fingers crossed for Wednesday, as Gus says. Let's hope we get a miracle on December the 23rd, 2 days early.
Well, the miracle is science, really. Everyone doing the right thing and going in there and getting tested. And Gus, I mean, to add to all of this now, the threat of maybe that we won't have a Christmas with our families, Sydney Mayor Clover Moore is saying maybe the New Year's Eve fireworks aren't a good idea. Maybe we should cancel those. It could be a super spreader event. Do you agree?
Yeah, I actually do agree. I've been on Brekkie Radio for a long time and disagreed with the Mayor most of the time, but I think she's right on this one. I think it'd be irresponsible to get 1 million people down there, you know, and the chances of what's going to happen with COVID with that situation. 2020's been a you-know-what type of year, so why don't we just put a line through it and spend that money and give that as bonuses to the nurses or to the frontline workers? I think the money can be much better spent this year than on fireworks. That's for sure. Yeah,
we're used to staying home, but I tell you what, I'm going to put a call into Clover Moore, tell her that you've agreed with her, because she'll just fall off her seat. She'll be like 2020. There's so many surprises. Let's move on. Victorians deserve better than this, rather than a masterclass in political deflection. That was the stinging criticism of Premier Daniel Andrews from his former Health Minister, Jenny Mikakos, as the hotel quarantine report blamed the system rather than any one individual for that catastrophic mistake which led to Melbourne's second wave and claimed, tragically, more than 800 lives. Bill, she did not hold back in her criticism for the Premier. Is it justified?
Well, clearly people have fallen out with each other. Listen, for me, what I'm trying to get out of the report, and it only came down yesterday, is have we learned the lessons? For me, what really matters is to make sure that whatever went wrong doesn't happen again. So I think the system has changed. In fact, I know the system has changed on quarantine. But can I just say, I mean, it goes, again, for me, like the only story today is COVID in Sydney. We've just got to make sure that rules like quarantine are just observed completely. Everyone's got to have 100% confidence in the system. But certainly the Victorian failure has been roundly and rightly criticised in this report. I just don't want it to happen again in Sydney, Melbourne or anywhere.
And look, I don't love a Dan pile on. I don't think it's very constructive, but he has stood up and said that he is accountable at this, but he said, I'm not going to stand down. In fact, you'll see me run again in 2022. Was that the right thing, Bill, for him to say? Or should he have just said, look, I'll take accountability. We're going to obviously work with the families on this and try to be more empathetic and maybe leave the politics till later on?
Well, I think he's probably defending himself from the politics, so, you know, I can understand what Dan is saying there. Listen, I must say the breach in Victoria was incredibly frustrating. It was bad. It was, you know, words fail me. But when I look around at the rest of the world and I think of all the stranded Aussies trying to get home to Australia, Australia, on balance, has just shot the lights out. We have done so much better than the rest of the world. I suspect from New York to London to you name it around the world, they would like to have had Australia's outcome. So on balance, as we approach the end of 2020, I think Australians have got more to be proud of than disappointed in ourselves.
Gus, Bill makes a good point. Obviously, compared to the rest of the world, we look fantastic. However, these phone records were redacted in the report yesterday. Should they be released now so the public can know the truth?
Yeah, I believe that. I think Australia's all about the truth and making sure that we have all the information so we can make our minds up correctly. And you can't do that if you've got 80% of the details. So, yeah, no, I think we should have those details and have them as soon as possible.
Bill, quickly, I want to ask you about a story which 9 News broke last night, revealing a group of American contractors who are allowed to just fly into Australia mid-pandemic, carry out construction work on the US consulate in Sydney. Now, there's some serious questions to answer here, considering the whole country's gone back into lockdown over this cluster.
Yeah, I'd just seen that Channel 9 broke a story last night. 20 to 30 American construction labourers coming in on an American plane. I hope they've done the quarantine. We've got tens of thousands of Australians right now who want to come home. How on earth can there be the VIP treatment, legal or not? It doesn't quite, to me, pass the pub test. The other thing is, you know, it's an Australian construction site. Why can't some Australian construction workers get some of this work? So it's the trifecta. I hope they've quarantined, for goodness sakes, otherwise people will go, you know, off their brains. Why are we not getting tens of thousands of Aussies home? And by the way, why aren't Australian construction building trades doing the work? Why do we need someone from America to work on an air conditioning system in Australia? We can do that.
Here. Just quickly, I want to just draw your attention to something, boys. We sent our cameras to your home last night, Bill. I don't know if you know this, but, geez, you've got a talent. You're a busy bloke. Have a look at this.
Everybody at the dinner party had a case of beers. People simply take this seriously, rapidly. Get on the beers. That's your civic duty. That's what's most important, and that's what must be done. Beers.
It's on, Bill. It's dropped. The beat just dropped. We're on. The fists are pumping in the air. That's not your house, but that is the most Australian Christmas thing I've ever seen, and it's so good, isn't it, Bill?
Yeah, I tell you what, I hope Dan Murphy's is sponsoring it, because that electricity bill will, again, do your head in. But I love that. You know, don't worry about Chevy Chase and his American Hollywood Christmas films. Just get that on camera. That'll sell out. That'll be box office success.
Guys, it should be everyone's ringtone from now on in Australia leading into Christmas, don't you reckon? And everyone needs to do what this guy's done. Get your house going and a bit of Dan and a bit of the beers.
Exactly right. We love the beers, and that's the one real positive that's come out of it. Dan's obviously been hammered now for so long, and that's one positive that comes out of it. And I just love the Australian way of taking the mickey at every opportunity, and it's just perfect. And it's just the little laugh that we needed.
Well, look, we're hoping for good news today at 11 o'clock. But, guys, have a great Christmas, and thank you both for being on today this year. It's great to have you both on.
See you, gentlemen.
Love it. Go on, you, Bill.
Take it easy.
There you go.